Chapter 301, The Team's Collapse. Returning to the church, the duo discovered that the whole area was a total mess, with ravines everywhere. The energy of various elements lingered in the surrounding air. It was obvious that the battles had come to an end. However, they could not tell where the group had gone. "Ningzhu, are you all right?" Lu Zhenga was the first to appear. He immediately came forward. His gaze immediately turned hostile when he saw Mo Fan with his hand on her shoulder. He said in a cold tone, "I'll take care of her from here." Mu Ningzhu could not be bothered by the two. She found herself a corner to rest up. Lu Zhenga continued to stick to her like a fly. He was a completely different person than when he was commanding the group. Liao Mingxuan was speaking the truth, after all. Mo Fan went to look for the others. He had no idea how his gorgeous Mu Nujiao was doing. After all, she had been living together with him. He held himself responsible for her safety. Instead of finding Mu Nujiao, he ended up bumping into the fatty Luo Song. Mo Fan grabbed the fatty by his collar. Before he could say anything, Luo Song burst out crying, "Brother, have some mercy on me. I was almost killed by her. She's right there. I think she's awake. She's been murmuring to herself." Luo Song was indeed in a miserable state. From his energy level, it appeared that he had almost used up all his magical gear, too. In terms of cultivation, Mu Nujiao had mastered her intermediate magic and was clearly a lot stronger than him. Mo Fan soon found Mu Nujiao standing in a pile of bushes. The plants nearby were clearly all her work. She looked slightly lost, and her gaze was hollow. The main difference was the red mark on her forehead had vanished, giving her back her usual noble appearance. "Zhao Zhao, are you all right?" Mo Fan went up to her. He took off the focus necklace and hung it around Mu Nujiao's neck. Mu Nujiao's pupils displayed some emotion. It was fear, as if she had just woken up from a nightmare. She was experiencing the aftershock. "Don't be scared, I'm here." Mo Fan slowly pulled Mu Nujiao's soft body into his arms. He was trying to warm her terrified little heart with his masculine body warmth. Mu Nujiao did not show any reaction to being hugged by Mo Fan. Normally, she would be enraged. What happened to me?" Mu Nujiao asked with a stunned look. She was unable to recall what she had done. She only remembered Luo Song was slandering the Mu family and picking on their past. It made her furious, but she totally forgot what happened afterwards. "Your mind was being controlled, but everything is fine now. Come, you'll feel better with a hug." "Come closer," Mo Fan said. Mu Nujiao finally raised her head. Her previous scared expression was replaced with a hint of doubt. At last, Mu Nujiao realized something. She instantly blushed, which made her extremely adorable, leaving Mo Fan with a stunned face. Mo Fan felt like he was being bewitched, being at such a close distance and capturing her attractive scent. Although he was not extreme enough to force himself upon her, he would not mind kissing her pink face and sexy lips. "Asshole!" Mu Nujiao pushed the jerk who was taking advantage of the situation away. She was experiencing a similar feeling to Mu Ningzhu. If she still had the energy, she would hang him up and beat the crap out of him. Wasn't he supposed to be more gentlemanly? Mo Fan felt extremely pleasant, as he had spent some enjoyable time with the two goddesses. Mu Ningzhu's skin was exceedingly smooth and soft. The touch of her felt incredibly good. Mu Nujiao's shoulders were rounder, with a pleasant body scent, giving her a different charm. "Where are the others?" Mu Nujiao switched the topic to prevent the atmosphere from turning awkward. "I don't know. I wouldn't care about their life and death," Mo Fan said indifferently. "How can you say that?" Mu Nujiao rolled her eyes at him. "Come, take this back. It was a close call when we were killing the bewitching magic spider. However, I wasn't willing to use your lucky charm." Mo Fan gave the orb back. Mu Nujiao also returned the focus necklace to him. She blushed again when she heard Mo Fan describing it like they were exchanging love tokens between them. She immediately walked off, not willing to continue talking with the shameless prick. She was still feeling absent-minded. Her heart had been acting weird after being teased by Mo Fan. Mo Fan and Mu Nujiao soon found Zhao Manting and Bai Tingting. They were unharmed, but Zheng Bingxiao was severely injured, as he was struck head-on by Zhao Minyu's intermediate fire magic. He was almost roasted alive. Bai Tingting was trying her best to treat his wounds. She had no idea if he could make it. Even if Zheng Bingxiao made it, he would feel extremely hopeless, knowing that he had almost died to an ally instead of a demon beast. The infighting had left everyone injured and consumed by extreme fatigue. Most importantly, the trust between the students no longer existed. Song Sha was unconscious, Zheng Bingsha was heavily burned, and Xu Delong's arm had been bitten off. The group was a complete mess. Everyone was sitting in different groups, just like before they lost control of their minds. "Let's retreat. We'll go back at dawn," Zhao Manting proposed. "I can't stay here any longer, either," Luo Song agreed. "Our mission is still ongoing, we can't leave now." Lu Zhenga immediately panicked, as if he was scared that the group would leave. "Mission my ass, I almost lost my life. Either way, I won't be staying here any longer," Xu Delong snapped furiously. His arm was bitten off by Lu Zheng's violent Mark Wolf. He thought Lu Zhenga had gone too far with his attack, even though he was bewitched. As for Ming Kong and Liao Mingxuan, who were deeply under the bewitchment, the former had totally disappeared. Liao Mingxuan was fine, but he was only sitting in a corner with a weird expression. Since Liao Mingxuan regained his wits, he had been acting strange, even worse than he was bewitched. As for the vanished Ming Kong, no one was in the mood to search for him, as they were all weary. They would try searching for him during the daylight tomorrow. It was the most they could do. Everyone was having trouble looking after themselves. They were not in the mood to care for others. No one had expected to stumble into such a deadly beast that was able to control their minds, nor expect that the elite group of students would collapse in just one night. Chapter 302 Kill 'em All. Liao Mingxuan sat beside Mu Ningzhu. He did not lose control of himself, but he was worn out after holding off Liao Mingxuan and Xu Delong. He wanted to talk with Mu Ningzhu, but she had been quiet the whole time. He had no idea how he could break the silence. He raised his head and began to think of some way to make conversation. Suddenly, he saw pairs of snowy white wings on the dawn-lit horizon. The wings were approaching the group at a steady pace, their faint glows embellishing the dull sky. Lu Zhenga felt a surge of joy, but immediately pretended he had seen nothing. The wings landed, instead of flying straight into the desolate city. Their landing spot was not too far away. They should be arriving in their area soon. Lu Zhenga intentionally checked his surroundings, searching for Mo Fan. Coincidentally, Mo Fan, Mu Nujiao, Bai Tingting, Zhao Manting, and the others were walking towards him, too. Mo Fan was the first to break the silence. "Since no one has the mood to continue the mission, should we head back now? We still haven't found Ming Kong." Mu Ningzhu said. "Forget it, he was killed by Liao Mingxuan accidentally out." Xu Delong blurted out. Liao Mingxuan shivered when he heard the accusation. He pointed at Xu Delong and screamed, "That's a bloody lie. Just admit it." Everyone lost control of themselves. "One of the two of you would die," Mo Fan added mercilessly. Liao Mingxuan, "Did you kill him?" Mu Ningzhu inquired. I didn't mean it. I can't control myself at all." Liao Mingxuan was on the verge of breaking down. He plunged his hands into his hair, as if he were trying to pry open his head. Ming Kong was his best buddy, but who knew that he would be the one killing him? Even his corpse was distorted beyond recognition. "Pack up, we're leaving." Mu Ningzhu did not question any further. She gave the orders as the team's captain. None of them had the courage to continue with the mission after the series of events. The abandoned city was way more terrifying than they had imagined. Heaven knew how many of them would still be alive if they tried to accomplish their mission. Everyone was tired. Most importantly, they were scared. Everyone was already intimidated after they stumbled into the pseudomorphing demon beast. Now, the bewitching magic spider had set them fighting one another. Liao Mingxuan even ended up killing Ming Kong. Even though he had fallen the deepest into the bewitchment, the group still could not believe it. After packing up their stuff, the group went and found Ming Kong's corpse, and decided to bury it. They used earth element magic to quickly set up a solid grave for him. It would stop his corpse from being dug up by the demon beasts. The severely injured Song Sha had regained consciousness. Her abdomen was still covered in gauze, and she looked extremely tired. She was very lucky to have survived, so she did not expect much from the group. All she wanted was to return safely with the others. Zheng Bingxiao was in a terrible state, too. Bai Tingting had used up all her energy saving him. She still had no idea if his life was still at risk. Everyone in the group was ambitious when they set out for the adventure. They thought they could easily conquer the desolate city, but they were thoroughly beaten after they had only investigated a few spots. They had thoroughly experienced the cruelty of the demon beast's territory. Being an elite of the Pearl Institute or the most talented student of the Imperial College made no difference. Even surviving in the wild alone was utterly difficult for them. Despite being treated as influential figures in the schools, despite dominating the rest of the students, despite hearing lots of tales about the outside world from the elderly, they didn't know how useless they were until they experienced it firsthand. The dead stayed dead, and the wounded were wounded. None of them were convinced of the result. As the top students of the whole nation, they each had a certain level of pride in their hearts, which they could only swallow back down as they dragged their exhausted bodies back in the direction they had come from. The training had proven to be too difficult. Slowly, the group walked out of the city. The sky was well lit, and birds were chirping in the woods nearby. The pleasant melody helped weaken the appalling atmosphere. Looking ahead, they could see the same railway overgrown with moss and weeds. It extended into the distance through the woods, and would eventually lead them back to the city that could be called paradise. Everyone was in a rush to get back to somewhere with living people, back to their cozy homes. The students were about to follow the railway when a group of people approached from the woods. They were wearing the same uniforms, which was similar to battle mages. However, the colors were totally different. The group consisted of about 30 people. Each had a white giant eagle on their side. The eagles had bulky chests and sharp gazes. Their folded wings were touching the ground. If they fully spread them apart, they would be 10 meters across, at least. Mo Fan had seen these heavenly eagles before. They were the beasts that the battle mages usually tamed. It was said that only powerful magicians with the psychic element were able to tame a beast. Even though they could not force them to assist in battles, they were perfect for transportation. Battle mages? Are they here to save us? The two girls, Zhao Mingyue and Qingqing, were excited seeing the battle mages. It felt great just seeing someone alive. Something's weird about their uniforms. Zhao Manting pointed out. They must be here to save us. Such a relief, they might be able to save Zheng Bingxiao. Peng Liang blurted out in joy. Lu Zhenga stood there and avoided eye contact with the group. The battle mages continued to walk toward the group. Their leader was a man with thick brows, holding a pipe between his lips. The man was wearing a camo windbreaker. The eyes under his thick brows quickly scanned the students, before stopping at Lu Zhenga. Lu Zhenga cast a glance in Mo Fan's direction, as if he were trying to tell the man something. Commander Lu Nian nodded slightly and slowly raised his right hand. He gave an order to the battle mages behind him. Those who we have no interest in, kill them all. Lu Nian spoke in a relatively calm manner, as if he were asking them to be taken away. However, he was ordering them to be killed. Even Lu Zhenga was stunned when he heard the order. He immediately forced a smile and said, "Brother, have you mistaken? They are students from the Pearl Institute and the Royal College. We're only here on training. That's why they have to be silenced. I don't want anyone to know what has happened here," Lu Nian said in a relatively calm tone. His decisive attitude served as an indication that there were countless lives lost in his hands. A strong murderous intent burst out from the people behind him. They were all soldiers, with a strength of at least the intermediate level. Their eyes locked onto the naive students like a hungry pack of wolves eyeing a herd of sheep. The atmosphere had thoroughly changed. Zhao Mingyue and Qingqing were about to say something to the battle mages when they realized a few ice chains had suddenly appeared under their feet. The chains penetrated their bodies while they were in a totally defenseless stance. The silver-white ice chains were instantly dyed red with fresh blood. The ice chains pierced through their bodies. Blood sprayed everywhere. The two lively girls were instantly turned into two icy corpses on the ground. It was utterly shocking. The students could not believe what they had just witnessed. Chapter 303 The Evil Battle Mages. The group of students felt a surge of numbness across their whole bodies. The battle mages had always been their protectors in their eyes. They were a symbol of justice and strength. However, the battle mages they had stumbled into today could be referred to as devils. They showed no sign of empathy. The two girls from the Pearl Institute were considered future pillars of the nation. Even if they had different identities, they were still two living humans. Just like many people, they believed they could always trust a battle mage. Their lives were lost within the blink of an eye. The eyes of the two close friends were still wide open. They had survived the extreme training of the desolate city. They were even thinking of enjoying a warm bath when they arrived home. Unfortunately, they had stumbled into a bunch of devils wearing the uniforms of battle mages, who had forced them to bid an everlasting farewell to the world. "It's a storm cloud. Watch out!" Someone among the group cried out, which prompted the group to glance upward. They saw a giant stormy cloud appearing in the sky above them. A series of lightning bolts flickered within the stormy cloud. Their speed was not as rapid as Mo Fan's thunderbolt, but he had somehow sensed overwhelming lightning energy rumbling inside the cloud. "It's a third-tier thunderbolt. Dodge it quick!" Mo Fan let out a scream. Following his cry, a loud clap of thunder echoed in the clear sky. The sky was already well lit, but as the lightning struck downward, it further illuminated the surroundings. A rapid lightning arc struck mercilessly down on Zhao Manting's head. Zhao Manting used his fastest speed to cast the sacred shield protection. A golden light shield was summoned to protect himself. Another lightning arc descended from the sky. This time, it was targeting Zheng Bingxiao, who was already severely injured. There was no way he could defend himself in his current condition. The eyes on his scorched face opened wide. He could see the lightning arc falling right onto him. Bang! Zheng Bingxiao, who had just barely survived his previous injuries, instantly turned into a crimson shower. It was impossible to differentiate between the flesh and blood. It splattered onto Zhao Manting's body, who was standing right beside him. His eyes were open wide as they filled with fear for the very first time. Did the bloody mess on his face, his clothes, and under his feet all belong to Zheng Bingxiao? A night ago, Zhao Manting was still fairly impressed by Zheng Bingxiao when he summoned his giant earth fusion golem. However, he had now turned into a bloody mess. The lightning arcs continued to drop onto the group of students at an increasing pace. It was most likely due to two lightning magicians casting thunderbolts simultaneously. The lightning strikes wildly attacked the group of students continuously. Most of the students possessed a few pieces of equipment which could protect themselves for a brief moment. However, the power of the third-tier thunderbolts was way too overbearing for them to handle. Eventually, the lightning strikes began to shatter their defensive equipment into pieces. "Help, someone! Ah!" A lightning arc struck Xu Delong's arm. His bulky body was disintegrated instantly, just like Zheng Bingxiao. Rains of blood poured down on the group. They showered over Lu Zhenga, who was already fully stained with fresh blood. Lu Zheng's face was smeared with blood from his teammates Qingqing, Zhao Mingyue, and Xu Delong. His whole body was trembling. He did not even have the courage to look at Lu Nian's face. Lu Nian had always been a close brother to Lu Zhenga. His brother was extremely caring of him. He would always find a way to get the things he desired. Since Lu Zhenga had lost his father in the early years, he had seen his brother Lu Nian as half a father. However, he never thought his brother was such a demented murderer. Lu Nian had asked him to leave signals along their journey. He told him that he was on a critical mission, so Lu Zhenga had agreed without hesitation. He had left the signals along their journey so Lu Nian could track them down. To his surprise, his brother was here to butcher them all. Was he still the brother he knew? Idiot! What are you waiting for? Do you want to die with them too? Commander Lu yelled. Lu Zhenga was scared to die, especially when he saw his friends dying beside him. Even though he could not believe that his brother was a murderer, he subconsciously obeyed the order given by the man who had raised him. He believed that he would not harm his own little brother. Lu Zhenga turned around and glanced at Mu Ningzhu. He was planning to bring her with him. However, a bolt of ferocious lightning struck the ground beside him, as another targeted Mu Ningzhu. Lu Zhenga hesitated when he saw Bai Tingting falling to the ground after losing her defensive equipment. "Come here at once," Lu Nian snapped. The roar was like an order to Lu Zhenga. He finally turned around and ran toward the battle mages. He clearly knew that he would be massacred, just like his friends, if he did not start running. "Trying to escape? I'll drag you with us since we're all going to die." Mo Fan was infuriated. He finished casting the lightning strike in an instant. From the midst of the lightning arcs, Mo Fan aimed his lightning strike at the fleeing Lu Zhenga. It was significantly thicker than a normal third-tier lightning strike. The dark purple arc quickly conducted across the ground and caught up to Lu Zheng's feet. Lu Zhenga did not see it as a threat. How could an insignificant basic-level lightning strike do any harm to him? However, when the thick lightning arcs crawled onto his body like crackling pythons, the paralysis effect was double that of an ordinary lightning strike. It completely locked him down, to his disbelief. Even if Mo Fan had a spirit-grade lightning seed, it was impossible for a basic-level lightning strike to have such power. Lu Zhenga could not move at all. He looked helplessly at his brother Lu Nian with a pale face, hoping that he would come and save him. Unfortunately, someone else was faster. Mu Nujiao had finished casting her plant magic. Her vines quickly tangled Lu Zhenghe's legs while he was still paralyzed by Mo Fan's lightning. The vines instantly dragged Lu Zhenghe back, slamming right into Mo Fan's body, which was engulfed in flames. Mo Fan had thoroughly transformed into a blazing demon. He furiously grabbed Lu Zhenghe's neck. The fury in his eyes was on the verge of bursting out. "Son of a bitch, ask your people to stop the attacks. Otherwise, I'll burn him to death alive." The flames on Mo Fan's body became even more vigorous, as if they were going to lunge at Lu Zhenghe in the next second. Chapter 304 I'll Let One Live. Lu Nian grimaced. He was considering whether he should wait to give the order until Lu Zhenghe made his way to their side. However, he ended up giving out the order from impatience. In his eyes, they were only a bunch of students who had yet to experience a real hand-to-hand battle in a war. Normally, they would not be able to react after experiencing a great shock. To his surprise, the kid with the name Mo Fan was able to react so quickly. He was smart enough to use Lu Zhenghe as a hostage. On the other hand, Lu Zhenghe was a complete idiot. Everything would have been fine if he had made his way to their side right at the beginning. Brother, save me!" Lu Zhenghe cried out. Lu Nian was decisive at killing without showing any mercy. He could tell that Mo Fan was the same as him, too. The rose flame was on the verge of lunging at Lu Zhenghe, and Lu Nian was confident that Mo Fan would kill him instantly once he made the decision. Interesting. Lu Nian took a sip from the pipe. He waved his hand to signal his group to cease fire. Lu Nian could not allow his brother to die here. He had spent years in the army, thus he never had the time to set up a family for himself. Lu Zhenghe was a lot younger than him. He was basically the last member of their family. Lu Nian knew he would be on trial very soon. He could not care less about his own life, but Lu Zhenghe should not die here. At the same time, he could not show that he was actually concerned about his brother's life. As a matter of fact, if he were left with no choice, he would still sacrifice his brother's life, as he was trying to achieve something magnificent. He would be the one who changed the world if the plan succeeded. Any sacrifice he made would be so worth it in the end. "Who do you think you are? Listen up, I, Liao Mingxuan, am the son of Liao Feng from the Magic Association. If you dare kill me today, I'll make sure your entire family dies with me, too." Liao Mingxuan burst into a hysterical scream. "Oh!" Lu Nian raised his eyebrows. His eyes suddenly emitted a brown flicker. Liao Mingxuan, who was yelling and screaming, suddenly fell silent. He could not make any noise. His body had become stiff. He could not even move any of his fingers. His body was covered in a layer of gray-white substance. It started with his toes, and eventually spread across his entire body. The substance spread even faster, like cement being dried in the sun within a short period. The only problem was, the substance was spreading on Liao Mingxuan's body, which meant that any part of his body that was covered in the gray-white substance would be turned instantly into stone. Liao Mingxuan tried to break free, but he was thoroughly turned into a statue in just a few seconds. Someone like him is even worse if left alive. Lu Nian took another sip from his pipe. He was acting indifferently, as if he were just getting rid of a piece of paper. The anesthetic tobacco entered his lungs, giving a slight relief to the pain from his back. It helped clear his mind, too. He glanced at Mo Fan, who was still holding his brother as a hostage. He looked like a rusty blade stained with blood, highly unpredictable, but extremely dangerous. "Tell me, what do you want?" Lu Nian said in a calm tone. "Maybe we should ask you what you want instead. We don't even know you. Why are you trying to kill us?" Mu Nujiao flushed with anger. Her body trembled as she spoke. It was obvious that she was scared, but she forced herself to calm down. It was eerie that their enemy could kill without any sign, which made him extremely difficult to deal with. Luckily, Mo Fan was able to seize their lifeline in time by controlling the traitor Lu Zhenghe. "You must be Mu Zhongxing's granddaughter. You're quite brave. If I told you that your grandfather agreed with our plan, what would you feel?" Lu Nian burst into monstrous laughter. Lu Nian was not in a rush. After all, his people had his target surrounded. It would be better if he could let Lu Zhenghe live. After all, he was his only brother. If not, he would not mind killing them all to prevent new problems from cropping up unexpectedly. Even though they were only students, most of them had quite a formidable background. It was better to pretend the group was wiped out during training. That way, the people behind them would have no clue who to interrogate, since they were all dead. Now, let's do a deal. I'll let someone live in exchange for his life. You make the call. Lu Nian did not sound like he was negotiating, as if he had total control of the situation. Mo Fan frowned. He could not read the devil's mind at all. Most importantly, Mo Fan had no clue why they were killing them. Did someone happen to stumble into some kind of secrets that they were trying to keep? Otherwise, why would they go so far to silence them? The girl beside you is quite adorable. I'm sure that you two are close. You let go of that idiot Lu Zhenga, and I promise to spare her life. Lu Nian grinned, showing his filthy teeth. You'll spare the 5 of us. It will be me, him, her, and her. I don't care what you do to the rest. Mo Fan demanded. Mo Fan's decision immediately scared the shit out of Luo Song, Shen Mingxiao, and the others. They almost dropped to their knees before him. Peng Liang and Song Sha stared at Mo Fan in disbelief. They were on the same team with him, so they never thought he would abandon them without a second thought. I said it, only one. Lu Nian's voice turned cold. It will be me then, Mo Fan blurted out without hesitation. Ha ha ha, such an interesting kid. Lu Nian burst out laughing. This time, it was Bai Tingting, Zhao Manting, and Mu Nujiao staring at Mo Fan in a great shock. They never thought Mo Fan would actually abandon them, too. I tried my best, Mo Fan said with an apologetic tone. I don't mind. If it weren't for you, I'm already dead now. Bai Tingting forced a smile. Everyone could tell she was reluctant to say it. Mu Nujiao bit her lips. Her mind was telling her that Mo Fan had made a reasonable decision. Anyone would react the same way. However, she could not help but feel miserable in her heart. For a second, she imagined that Mo Fan would say her name instead. Mo Fan, you are such a disappointment. That being said, if I really were to die here, I hope you will kill that son of a bitch for me in the future. Zhao Manting said with an absolutely ugly smile. Even if you didn't say it, I'll kill him myself, Mo Fan replied. Lu Nian tapped his pipe while casting a dismissive side glance at the despairing students. Are you done with your last words? Let Lu Zhenga go now. Otherwise, not a single one of you will be spared. The commander said. I've already said it. Let me go, Mo Fan repeated. Too bad. You're the last one that will be allowed to leave among them, Lu Nian said with a grin. Mo Fan was stunned. He stared at the lunatic in front of him with a blank face. Were they from the Black Vatican? No, even though they were vicious, it was obvious that they were not related to the Black Vatican. They looked extremely calm on the surface, as if they knew they were no turning back after what they had done. The question was, what were they planning to do? These people were too strange.